already. Get myself some water on the round brush. Dip it back into the black. This is still damp. The paper is still damp, so I know that it's probably wet enough to take this wash over top of here. So I'm going to come in with a heavy black stroke with the round brush and bringing it. You see what happened here? I moved it faster and I lowered the angle of the brush, and I got that dry brush effect, which makes great highlights on water or anything you want where there's light, multiple lights on a surface. It's perfect for reflections of sun and water. But I started full strength down here. I pulled it across and then dropped the angle down, and I pushed the brush faster over to the edge, and I got this nice dry brush effect here. All right, now I'll take a
round.
All right, I'm using the round brush now. And Aaron, I'm just making marks right now. So, I mean, I'm not trying to create anything, you know, that resembles a specific object. I'm trying to show you how I twist my wrist, my elbow, my shoulder, and I'm going to roll this brush around while I'm at it. I'm going to twirl it like this, spin it, push it across. See how the value is getting lighter because I haven't added any more pigment to it. But this is wet, it's pouring itself down. I add some more water to this. I'm lightening the value because I'm adding water. And let's say I want to leave some lights in here. So I'll put the brush down on its side and move it quickly across, like that. You don't want to hesitate and just, you know, you don't want to hold the brush like a pencil. You want to hold the brush in your start, you know, by laying the brush across your 4 fingers like this. Put your thumb on it, and now you've got the whole range of motion that you can apply to this brush. Put some clear water on here now, and just, as you see, I'm using all joints. I'm moving all my joints to move this paint across. Haven't changed any of the paint. Still using the black pigment, which I want you to utilize. You don't need to get involved in any color right now. Just use the black pigment and use water to change your values. Add more water to the edge and you change the value immediately. Now I have a foreground, I have a middle ground, and I have a distant area behind here, these hills. Now if I wanted to pull another hill out of there, another layer of I could lift some of this. While it's still wet, you can work with the paint. As soon as it starts to dry, that's where you have problems. All right, I'm gonna turn my pen around and work in this area. Back into the paint. I'm going to pull this quickly across the whole length of this. I'll pull my brush quickly across. I sort of like that edge, but when I turn it around, I've got too much white in here now, so once again I'm adding clear water quickly. I'm rolling the brush across here, closing up that gap of white because it was too strong. Okay, so that's more interesting now, but what if I wanted to soften this edge right here? This is a hard edge, this is a soft edge, because the pigment is being pulled into the wet paint automatically. And it's a physics law that controls this gravity thing, but I don't want to get into any of that. That's too technical right now. So I'm going to soften this edge. I'm twisting the brush. I'm rolling it between my fingers, my thumb and my fingers. I want a darker value here. This was wet. I put down a full charge of black, and look how it's, because this is still wet, this is going to move down into this area of its own accord. Of course, as long as I angle it a little bit, the more I angle it, the faster it'll roll down. As you can see right here, I just rolled it right off the page. But this is just an example. These are examples, but if you stay with one color black, then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to get your mind worked up with color. You don't have to be sidetracked by all the pretty colors in the box. What you want is just one. Because now I'm working more intuitively. I'm seeing where I want to. I'm looking at this and trying to figure out where I want to put another value change. This is too bright, I think. This is strong up in here. This is that dry brush area I was telling you about. And you get that by laying the brush flat. In this case, it's a round brush. But I'm laying it flat at a very shallow angle to the page, and I'm going across it like that. This is too white up here for these values. My eye goes right up there, and I don't want that really, so I want to lower that value. So I'll add water to this, pull some gray over that. Now my attention is more focused on this band of white. I'm not happy with this over here. So let me see if I can pull. As long as it's wet, you can play with it. So I'm pulling this over, and I've gotten rid of that harsh light area. One color, just black. That's all you need to work with in the beginning, because otherwise you will be confused. Now the back of this brush, which is that 1-inch synthetic sable brush I was talking to you about, I'm gonna put it. I've taken the water out of as much water as I can out of the brush by putting it up against a paper towel and just pulling the brush across the towel. Now if I want to, let's see what I can lift off with this. Well, I'm going to have to go back in with a little more clear water. More clear water. I want to kill that light there. I think I'll pull these values together. I'm working back and forth with an inch flat brush here. As long as it's wet, I can keep working it. I can come back in and put stronger black in there, and because this is wet, look at it. See how gravity pulls the paint down when it's wet? Okay. I'm going to take this all the way down here. Okay. This looks more interesting to me right now. Coming in with pure pigment while this is still wet. Dropping in
Just
some.
dabbing it.
Hmm?
Dabbing.
Yeah, just dabbing the brush back and forth. So yeah. Now what if I wanted some darker clouds down in here? Which I don't know whether I want in here, but let's just say I wanted to have some thin little clouds. That would go back in the distance. Softening these edges. Coming back and lifting up some of the pigment. Don't be